All right. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Cut to the Chase Sports Podcast. We're bringing unique insight and analysis behind your favorite teams at the collegiate and professional levels. I'm your host, Chase Yantz. Alongside me, I got the crew, Brady King and Matt Ricketts. You guys can unmute the mics. What's going on, Brady?
What's up, Chase? Not much, honestly. I'm just, ready to get back into things. Been an interesting couple weeks leading up to this week of the draft, and once again, some interesting things could definitely happen. But I'm ready to see how it unfolds.
Most definitely. And down below, we have Matt Ricketts. Matt, what's going on with you?
What's up, fellas? Nothing too crazy going on. Just working, living, excited to talk about a little bit of the NFL draft.
Most definitely. It looks like Matt's down there in the shadow realm looking like, I don't know. You look like you could have a very disguising voice.
Like this, very.
But yes, again, that's a cool feature. But hey, before we get into this, if you guys would like this video, subscribe to us on YouTube. If you're watching this far, we appreciate you guys doing that and supporting us all the way through. We'll be getting back to Springfield. I'll be moving back to Springfield this weekend. Brady will be moving back to Springfield later on this weekend as well. So you'll start seeing more in-person shows and see the three of us on camera and everything. And it'll be a good time. So, without further ado, we'll get into this episode talking about the NFL prospects in the draft. So, with everything that's been going on recently, there's been a lot. There's been a lot in our personal lives that we have been having to attend to, and we haven't been able to really put together a draft show. At least we're putting one together before the draft, a couple days before. And there's a lot of very entertaining prospects that we spent the entire 2023 football season talking about, headlined by the likes of Caleb Williams and Marvin Harrison Jr., Malik Neighbors, Brock Bowers, to name a few. There is a very stacked offensive class compared to what last year was when we were talking more defensive heavy and everything else. Now, we look at some of the top quarterback prospects. We're looking at Caleb Williams. We're looking at the Heisman Trophy winner in Jaden Daniels, looking at Drake May from North Carolina, Michael Penix Jr., J.J. McCarthy is in that list, and a couple others. But if there's one person in that group of 5 or 6 that really jump out to you besides some of the obvious, I don't care if you mention any of them, Brady, who would you say?
I actually, besides the obvious, Spencer Rattler. I actually think he's a decent prospect. I don't think he's like a first rounder or anything like he once was slated to be, but I feel like he's even gotten a little bit overhated. His offensive line was terrible, and I actually think he did a good job at times of maneuvering the pocket, and I think he has a really good arm. I think he's got a strong, he was a 5-star for a reason, type of arm that and I'm not saying he's going to be some stud quarterback, but I would take him. He would be like my QB6 or something, probably. He'd be right outside the range of some of those other guys. I think Spencer could be decent.
And obviously Spencer went to Oklahoma, and the quarterback who's going to be selected number 1 overall, and you can put all the money on it possible, Caleb Williams. Those two were at the same school, and Caleb Williams took over at Oklahoma and went over to USC, but definitely don't want to let Spencer Rattler slip under the radar to say. Matt, for you, who's a quarterback that you're excited to watch at the pro level, or who's a quarterback that you have your eyes on in this draft?
Guy, I think Jaden Daniels is going to be really, really good. I just think he's very athletic. He had a great college career. Obviously, really good last 2 years at LSU. Beat Alabama, won a Heisman Trophy. But in terms of guys, so I would say him. But in terms of non-obvious guys, I guess there's not really too many under the radar for me. But Joe Milton's a guy with a huge arm. So maybe he gets in a situation where he becomes a backup somewhere, something like that. I mean, that's just another under the radar guy. But I do like Spencer Rattler, Brady. It's a good pick. I think he obviously was recruited really high, so he has some talent. So Brady kind of took my pick. So there's Joe Milton out there for you too.
Yeah, and that's a great point you mentioned, Matt, with a lot of these quarterbacks are and end up being backups. But if the situation arises, they end up having to be a starter if starting quarterback goes out for a team. Maybe it's a playoff team. For example, I'm not wishing any ill will on the Los Angeles Rams, but Matthew Stafford's getting up there in age. What if they end up drafting a guy like Michael Penix Jr.? I think he's in draft boards, but what if they end up drafting a guy like him? What if they end up drafting a Spencer Rattler or a couple other of these prospects who have been around the college game and that might be able to be well put together and can step in a good situation? So there's going to be a couple of these guys that are getting drafted that will probably get some opportunities to play, due to the unfortunate luck of injuries in the National Football League. So it's going to be very interesting to see. So let me ask you this before we move on. Is Caleb Williams the best prospect to you, or would you go otherwise? Let's start with Matt.
I'd say probably the best prospect. I think there's a chance that Jaden Daniels ends up being the best player. I really like him too. But yes, I will say he is the best prospect. Yes.
Okay. And again, we're sticking with quarterbacks, and obviously there's a couple other guys on this list who are very very great prospects, and we'll talk about those guys in a minute. But Brady, quarterback prospect, is Caleb Williams the best?
Yeah, I do think so. I think he's the best. I think there's two guys that are quite a bit above the rest for me. That's Caleb Williams and Drake May. I would go back and forth at times between the two, but I think Caleb, the reason I would put him ahead of Drake is I feel like he's just a little bit he's better at maneuver. I mean, both of them are good at this, but I think his maneuverability in the pocket, and sometimes it's unwarranted, but he still has become good at it because he likes to do it so much. He can really avoid the pass rush well, and he has a pretty strong arm as well. And just overall, I feel like he's the overall best quarterback in the draft, slightly ahead of Drake.
Now, what's the difference with Drake May and Jaden Daniels to you? Why do you put May over the Heisman Trophy winner?
Yeah, I just think I actually don't. I would also put Penix over Daniels. I think May has multiple levels above him arm talent wise. I think he just when he throws the football, it pops a lot more, and he makes them more the offense at UNC was also they didn't have a lot of good receivers this year. And so it was a lot harder for him, whereas Daniels had two of the best receivers in the draft. And Jaden Daniels, his arm, he's had some questionable – he has questionable decision-making in terms of taking big hits. He takes a lot of big hits when he runs, and that's a negative. Now, I do think Daniels is going to be a good runner, but I actually don't think he'll be able to pass the ball. I mean, this year was by far his best year, by such a wide margin, and I think a lot of that has to do with the system and the receivers he had. And I think if he went to a place like New England or Washington, I just don't trust him. I think Drake May is a lot more ready for that. And then I think Penix's accuracy is the best in the draft in terms of just pure drop back, throw it. That's the best thing. That's the main thing you need as a quarterback. I think he's actually the best at that in the entire draft. I'd put him as QB3. And then Daniels. I think Daniels is a pretty good prospect as well, for sure.
I remember we talked about the Trey Lance thing a couple years ago, and it said his weakness is accuracy. We're like, okay, that's a big thing to be weak at, but
definitely a problem,
definitely an issue. And we saw how that played out in San Francisco's number 3 overall pick. But again, going back to your point with Jaden Daniels, you look at a couple situations in history where Joe Burrow was in that same boat where he made the leaps and bounds. I know Jaden Daniels won the national championship, but Joe Burrow's made those leaps and bounds and played with two of the best receivers now in the National Football League. And, they were obviously great in college, and he had put up great numbers and went to a situation in Cincinnati and was able to take that team and just, revive the city. But then you also look at Mac Jones, for example. I know he didn't win the Heisman Trophy, but he was he was up there and one of the finalists. And, he had great receivers like Jalen Waddle and the Heisman Trophy winner Devonta Smith. And then he goes to New England and they go to the playoffs one year, but you can just tell that Mac Jones wasn't that guy. And now he's a backup to Trevor Lawrence, who was in the same draft class. So there's a lot of space in between where it could end up like a Burrow situation, or it could end up anywhere between Mac Jones. There's a lot that could go on with that. And, we're just talking about what we see. Everyone has different perspectives on it, and that's the beauty of having all of our minds be collaborative on a show. We'll move on to more of the skill positions. Running back isn't really being talked about that much this year. We had a couple of running backs last year selected in the first round, actually in the top 12 picks. You had Bijan Robinson and Jahmyr Gibbs who were in the top 12, and they produced really well this year in the NFL. But you're looking at the running backs. Who sticks out on the board to you, Matt? Like who is a guy that they could get in a system in the National Football League and they could take the league by storm if given the opportunity?
I think Jonathan Brooks from Texas is probably the highest potential. Blake Corum, obviously from Michigan, as much as we hate it, had a really productive college career and could end up being a good one in the National Football League as well. And just another guy, Bucky Irving from Oregon. Those three guys really come to my mind in terms of there's other great backs too, but those are the three guys that if you ask me one who would end up being the most productive this season, would be one of those three.
Brady, your thoughts? Who's a guy that you like?
Yeah, Blake Corum is my RB1 in this class. It's been that way for me for a minute in terms of I view him highly. I just think I think he has very good balance, and I think he can jump cut really well, and he's powerful. He doesn't have crazy open field speed, but I don't think that matters that much. It's never been. You look at a lot of the top running backs, not all of them are lightning fast. You just have to have the other qualities, and I think he could easily average 4+ yards a carry. And I do think he was the best player on the team at Michigan overall. And I just think he's RB1.
Yeah, definitely. There are some, I'm not going to say sleepers, but when it comes to these running backs being pushed down more in the second and third round, you could call that entire group of back sleepers. And over the last year or so, the value of a running back has gone down, but you saw a lot of movement this offseason in the NFL where guys were going left and right. Trades were happening. Joe Mixon got traded for not a whole lot, and Josh Jacobs signed for like $12 million a year. So the value in everything has gone down a little bit, and teams turn to the draft. They turn to guys down the depth chart. So it's going to be interesting. Right. But a guy that I really like, and this school has produced a lot of really good running backs in a short period of time, or just whatever you take it. Braylon Allen from Wisconsin, and he's a bigger guy, but the ability to just be one of those physically imposing running backs who can just absorb contact and get you that 4 and get that extra yard or 2 after contact is huge. But again, a downside of him is with him being a bigger back, he's not the greatest pass catcher in the world, and that's what you've seen a lot of running backs make their money off of the last couple of years in the National Football League. But for me, Braylon Allen's a guy to watch, especially if he goes into a system where it turns into a running back by committee and it keeps his legs fresher over time. We'll move to receiver, tight end, the pass catching unit. So the great debate's been going around about Marvin Harrison Jr. and Malik Nabers. I think we all agree that we're on Marv. All right, we're Team Marv in this situation. But again, some teams have their specific needs different. The Cardinals might have a different need than what the Chargers do. They might, specifically, need a receiver that can stretch the field better, or this, or they look at different stuff. That's why scouting departments are very different in that regard.
Yeah.
Why?
I see what you're saying.
But I'm saying I agree. I am Team Marv on this. But what differentiates Marv from Malik Nabers, Brady?
Yeah, so you make a good point. There's definitely a lot of cases where teams look at their needs, but in my opinion, all 32 NFL teams would take Marv if they had the chance. And obviously, I know you're not saying that they wouldn't. You're bringing up a good point. But I think that the reason Marv – I don't think – personally, I'm a Rome guy over Malik. I think that's the better debate. I just don't understand when people try to group them in with Marv. Like, I feel like it's been known ever since 2 years ago that Marv was the best wide receiver by like a long shot in this draft. And the reason of that is because you look at his route running. He's one of the most fine-toned route runners. He's always in the right spot. You look at his speed. he didn't get to run, but it was said he runs in the 4.3 somewhere. He's very fast. This year he hit the top speed in college football at 22.2 miles per hour. You look at his ball skills, top notch in the country. He had to catch a lot of jump balls that Kyle McCord threw late this year. You look at his after the catch ability. It's way better than most 6'4" wide receivers. You look at his everything, work ethic. It's the best. His work ethic is known to be – I've heard from many sources, talked to people. Everyone else has heard it too. He has the best work ethic in Ohio State history. I think it's such a no-brainer. And to even, like, hear people compare, like, Malik Neighbors, it's actually funny to me. And, yeah, I think Roma Dunze, for me, don't get me wrong, Malik's good, but I don't think Malik is as good as some people say. I actually think Brian Thomas, his teammate, is on the same level as him. They're both very good players, but Rome is another guy that's very good.
And he's definitely deserves the talk. He's very well in line to potentially be a top 10 pick and might be matched up with Caleb Williams in Chicago. We'll see how that mock draft goes in a little bit. Matt, for you with Marv and Malik Neighbors, Rome, we can add him to the conversation as well. These three receivers, nonetheless, are absolutely special talents to say. They will walk in and they will most likely they will have a very immediate impact for their teams. Why do you take Marv over the rest of the crew?
Brady hit on it. I actually think route running and his ball skills are just unbelievable. Some of the catches he's made over the years at Ohio State are crazy. But you talk about the work ethic and everything. He's everything you want to build your offense around in the NFL with a great quarterback. I mean, he's everything. The way he works, the work ethic he put in at Ohio State's crazy. And I think, to be honest, a lot of Brady hit on it since the Rose Bowl game. Really, I think everybody thought he was going to be wide receiver 1 in this class. So, I think you're getting a lot of fatigue. Everybody's been so. I think it's not necessarily they're comparing Marv to them. It's more so they're trying to just find other people to talk about too.
It's other GMs. Like when they say like teams, like a couple of teams have Malik Neighbors as their wide receiver 1. That's just people trying to, stir the pot and get one team to another thing and all these mind games. Same thing with the Will Levis stuff last year. Right. I came on here and I said he wasn't going to be a top 5 pick.
This is the time frame, man, for those.
Exactly.
I think it's more media fatigue.
It is.
Just picking up anything than it is comparisons to those two. Because I just think it's foregone conclusion. Just like a couple years ago, like they were talking about CJ falling in the draft, like fucking Will Levis was going to go second. Like what? Like it never happened. You know what I mean? Like it was just like it's just stupid stuff. You know what I'm saying?
We've seen how that's played out in that regard. And again, I do want to ask this though. Brady already expressed it with Neighbors in Rome, but Matt, who would you rather have personally, Malik Neighbors or Rome Odunze?
I would rather have Rome too. I think Rome's a better receiver as well. Yeah.
Okay,
I think Rome and Marv are the two best. I do. I agree with Brady.
Now, quickly, who would you? I know I don't want to put labels and say specifically this receiver is, I don't want to say Marvin Harrison Jr. is the next AJ Green or the next blah, blah, blah. But from the NFL, from guys you've watched in the past or, pieces of games, who would you compare Marv to? Like what parts of his game and everything else? And I'll give a couple other receivers, like these top 3 receivers. Who would you compare each of these receivers to very briefly? Brady, you.
I would say Marv has some Julio in him. And also AJ Green. I see both of those guys mixed in. Bigger guys that can run well for their size. And I feel like he's got like similar tendencies. Like you can just see parts of their game. Those would be the two. And I also think I know this is crazy. I can see a little bit of his dad in him, but he's 4 inches taller. That's the difference. They move in a weird, similar way and I know they're completely different.
Genetics, man. Yeah. I mean, that's how
I would compare Marv to.
Now, for you, Matt, would you agree with Brady? And then I'll ask a follow-up question in that regard.
I think it's AJ Green. I also think I see Larry Fitzgerald too, the technician.
Another hot one,
Larry's had some had some of the greatest hands ever, but he was also a really good route runner. Technically, and the work ethic that Marv has, I really like Larry Fitzgerald as well.
And again, I love that those receivers from the 2000s and 2010s are getting their love right now, and those guys, especially a guy like AJ Green, like I can talk about that on another episode, but I'm just gonna say shout out AJ Green. That's all I got. He's my favorite player before Joe Burrow came to Cincinnati. But yeah, the great comparisons though. These are great players that are great flashes and etches there for Marv, and I'm excited to see what he's got. We'll move on to the tight ends. All right, so obviously Brock Bowers is that guy. He's the hands down number one prospect when it comes to the tight end room. But who's second? Matt, who's second in this tight end group? Who's the next?
That is a good question. Brady, go first.
All right.
Oh, shoot.
There's a lot of guys that there's
a lot.
A lot.
We're talking about gaps, man. There's a big.
I think it's a huge gap. That's what I'm saying.
I think I got it. I think I'd probably say Jatavion Sanders from Texas. I was between him and this other guy. I know we've made jokes about him.
I know.
Cade Stover. Cade Stover's in that discussion for number 2. I think
it's Cade. I really do. I think it's Cade.
It might be Cade. After this year he had a great year. And by the way, speaking of your favorite player, my former favorite player took his pants off in the pool and now runs CT ESPN.
Okay, well, yes, I think we all know who.
I think you can guess who that is.
That really caught me off guard for a second. I'm like, hold on. But then with you say, that
my
made
former favorite player.
Flash up here. We got Josh TV saying neighbors equals Marv. Again, perspective. It's perspective. All right. That's a big thing. I understand that. I think we're all personally taking Marv in this one. But again, it's perspective. It's what happens with system. There's a lot of stuff that is, receivers have to be dependent on when it, with quarterbacks, with situation, with offensive structure, with offensive coordinators, and a lot of other stuff that goes into it. So, prospect wise, I'm taking Marv. I think we all are in here on the screen, but again, I mean, and then he also puts 1A, 1B. There's a lot of people that have been saying that as well. So, I mean, it really just depends on perspective and everything. And I'm not going to hate on people for saying that whole thing, but I would personally put Marv above those, but we'll see how the whole process goes because these guys are lined up for long careers, and it's going to be really exciting to see how those guys play out. Let's go to
wait.
Do you want to?
I have some random thing to add in.
What do you got?
After this, I'm playing basketball with Aaron Noland.
Okay, what the heck?
I just had to add that in. I'm sorry.
All right, that is so random, but that's exciting.
That's so. Never mind.
That's pretty
okay,
cool.
sorry, I had to add that in.
I'll talk to you off
Dude,
camera about.
I'm ready for this. I'm ready for this mock draft. I'm ready.
We're going to speed this whole thing up. All right, so in the trenches, all right, offensive and defensive line. The best offensive lineman in the draft is.
Ooh, this is a good one. Joe Alt.
Matt.
Joe Alt.
Next question.
No controversy. There we go.
Yeah, there we go. The best defensive tackle, or not defensive tackle, defensive line prospect. You can mesh edge in there. You can mesh defensive tackle. Who is the best frontline defensive player in the 2024 draft? Matthew, go first, if you would.
I like Johnny Newton from Illinois. I think he's a freak.
You can call him a couple different names, but yes, the guy from Illinois is really good. I honestly hope the Bengals pick him if he's there.
Is his name Johnny?
I don't
know. It might be.
There's a lot of different names they call him.
I didn't know. Yeah, it probably is Johnny. I
don't know.
Yeah, from Illinois. That's my guy.
Yeah.
I would, again, as a Bengals fan, I would love to have him or Byron Murphy on my team. Byron Murphy's been skyrocketing up these draft boards, and his teammate Devondre Sweat has been falling. But Brady, for you, would you agree or would you go someone different?
I would agree. I think it's actually a decent gap. My second guy would be Michael Hall at the defensive tackle position, actually.
And again here, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Byron Murphy, then Michael Hall. My bad.
Okay, well there we go. Yeah, Byron Murphy, man, he's been skyrocketing up these draft boards, and it's going to be exciting to see. I just hope he doesn't fall anywhere in the division. That's going to be scary unless it's here in the city of Cincinnati. But yeah, Byron Murphy, I would, him or Newton. I would, if it came down to those two, I would rather want Byron Murphy on the Bengals, but that's a different episode for a different time. On the back end, linebackers and corners. Actually, who's the best edge rusher in the draft? I think Jared Verse has been up a lot of these boards and stuff. But would we agree on that, or would we go somewhere else?
Agreed.
Okay,
Agreed.
Matt. All right, cool.
That
Just
was-
needed to get that. Yeah, I figured. Back end linebackers. I mean, we don't really talk a whole lot about the linebackers on this, but what are we looking at? Who are some good tackles?
Jeremiah Trotter's good.
Yeah.
The dude, I can't. Colson's good from Michigan too. I mean, be real. I'd say Trotter probably is number one for me.
Brady.
There's another guy. He's not number one on the mocks, but that's who I would take.
Okay.
And then in the
I
back
think,
end, go ahead, Brady. Sorry.
Oh no, that's my bad. Yeah, you can answer first.
Well, I thought we were doing both, so that's why I said
Dude, there's no structure.
corners and safeties.
Yeah,
I like
go.
Cooper DeJean because he's I think he'd be able to play both at the next level. Like he could play in the slot corner, outside corner, play safety as well. He's good. Nate Wiggins is good. Terry and Arnold's good. Those three towards the top. I think Kool-Aid McKinstry probably a couple years ago was thought of to be the best, and he just kind of has moved down a little bit from that. But I think he has a chance to be a back-end first rounder too.
Yeah.
All right, Brady, your thoughts?
Mhm.
Linebackers, corners, safeties. Give me the whole deal. We're getting this mock draft.
Linebacker, I actually agree with Jeremiah Trotter. I thought he was really good at Clemson. Shout out Tommy Eichenberg, though. My cornerback one is – I go back and forth. I think I'm going to go with Kool-Aid, though. I think I'll go Kool-Aid. I was between him and Cooper DeJean, since Cooper, like he says, versatile. And then at safety – is there an obvious one I'm missing?
Making you think, huh?
I'll go
It might be, honestly.
– there's got to be a better – this safety class is terrible. I
Let
didn't
me
even,
look real quick.
Go on ahead.
I need to look at this. Yeah, I didn't really talk.
Go take your research right now. There's nothing wrong with that at all. In the meantime,
Dude from Bama.
actually, there's no
Ballard,
meantime.
or Georgia.
Honestly, you know what? I think Cooper DeJean's going to end up at safety, and I'm going to put
That's
him
what
in
I
my
think
number
too. That's why.
Because-
We'll make the shift.
one. I mean, he's white. No quarterback that's white is playing in the NFL.
Well, let's
He could. It's just I just have a feeling he'll end up at safety.
let's bluntly pull the card out, man. That's all right. That's that. I mean,
Tyreek, Smith,
You're going ahead.
fucking
going ahead.
Bullard, the guy from Georgia.
You on there? Okay. We've got Justin, my good friend here. Jaden Hicks is his safety one.
Who I'm not familiar.
He is okay. I'm going to tell you this real quick. Justin, good friend of mine, dude. He does his draft research like down to the wire, everything, man. He is really good at what he does. And shout out to him and his show over there, This Just In, and everything that he's got going on. I wanted to, go ahead and plug that there. But if you guys want to check some of the stuff out, the really in-depth detail and
I'll
stuff,
check it out.
he's got it. He's got it for you. All right. So just wanted to give him this shout out there in that regard. But Jaden Hicks, safety one. So
Josh
we're gonna
Proctor
take
might be safety one for real.
Josh Proctor. Jeez. All right. We're gonna
Best
take
safety
a break.
having random pick sixes on Talia Tagovailoa.
And we were both there to see that. So
Exactly.
random, but yeah,
Exactly.
again, caught us off guard. We're gonna take a break. All right.
It looked like the
30-second
hitch was
break.
open.
It did look like it. It did look like it, but we're gonna go on ahead and take this break real quick in about 30 seconds, and we'll get in the mock draft simulator. We'll be
Okay.
right back. back. We are getting ready for this mock draft that we're going to have put up here. You guys excited for? You guys ready to do this? We haven't done a mock draft since obviously last year we did our whole roundtable mock draft. We're just going ahead and use Pro Football Network mock draft simulator and everything. So
we had Chris on and Tyler, right?
Yes, we had our entire group of individuals on this show, and it was very fun. Dude, I hate you, Matt.
Great time, dude. Great time.
Oh my gosh, here we go.
Oh yeah, I agree that DeJean has the athletic ability to stick. By the way, that was a joke when I said he wasn't good. Like, I do think he's going to play safety, but
yeah, Brady, he's a big jokester to say, but that's just kind of how it goes.
Are you joking, Brady? Were you joking?
No, I think he's good. I think he could definitely play corner. I mean, it's just but I think he's going to be really good at safety. Julian Fleming beat him on an 80-yard go ball, man-to-man in corner. Julian Fleming sucks.
Yes, we'll see him. We'll see him next season in Penn State.
We will. He probably won't get a ball thrown in his vicinity, though, because Drew Aller will accidentally hit the ground 5 feet ahead of him.
Aren't you guys going to Happy Valley this year to watch the game?
Yeah. We are.
Yeah, they should have invited me. I'm just kidding. We'll talk about that later. But yeah, so mock draft. How this is going to work? We're you go normal snake draft or whatever, but we're just going to go down the list. You see us right here. I'm on top. Brady's in the middle. Matt down there on the bottom. I'll go 1. Brady goes 2. Matt goes 3. And we just go right down the list again. Boom, boom, boom. And
who we would take.
Yes, pretty much. We're gonna do and pretty much who we would take in these situations and go from there and try to create a very good mock draft between the three of us. So if we are ready to go, let's get into it. All right. So the Chicago Bears. I got to take my time. No, I'm just kidding here. All right. So we got Caleb Williams drafted to the Chicago Bears. I think it's the surefire pick and everything, and there's not much explaining needed to be done. Brady, you got the Commanders on the board. Who do they take?
They take Drake May. In my opinion, I mean, I think.
Oh, okay.
I think. He's the favorite to go there, right? I would assume.
Jaden Daniels at the moment, but I know there's
really?
a lot of.
Oh shoot!
I got to look at the favorite stuff, but I mean.
I might be wrong, but I'm gonna go Drake May. I think
you're going Drake May in this situation.
I think they take Drake. I do. I think they're going to replace Sam Howell with his junior year backup quarterback.
It's actually crazy to think about.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So Drake May is the selection here.
Terry McLaurin will finally get a good quarterback.
I said that last year, thinking that Sam Howell was somewhat
decent. He started off decent.
He did start off decent, and then he started throwing a bunch of picks. And that ship set sail.
Yep.
Matt, you got the third pick. Who are you taking right here for the Patriots? I know that, again, trades can happen and stuff. We're not going to do any trades. We're just going to keep it normal. I know that's not going to happen on draft night, but you're the Patriots at 3. Who are you taking?
Jaden Daniels.
Now, before we make this selection,
good
Brady remembers it. Matt, I don't know if you remember this. You probably were drunk that night.
Oh, I remember this.
I remember the Alabama LSU game. 2022, LSU ended up getting the dub. Very dramatic overtime victory. I said November 5th, 2022, that Jaden Daniels would be the quarterback of the Patriots.
He did say that.
And
confirmed. And it's definitely I personally believe that's probably the favorite to happen right now. That's what in my eyes, I actually think that's going to happen.
All right. So Matt, we're putting in the card for Jaden Daniels, correct?
Yeah, we're putting that sucker in there.
There we go. We got it. Jaden Daniels to the Patriots. Now for, again, I think this is one of the most easiest picks to make out there. Yeah. Don't make it hard, Arizona. We're going with Marv, man. Maserati Marv to the Cardinals.
We are.
It's you don't have to explain a whole lot with it. Now, at 5, the Chargers, they did a lot of stuff in the offseason. A guy named Jim Harbaugh's their head coach. They let go of Keenan Allen. They traded him, and Mike Williams walked out of the door. They need a lot of stuff on this offense and tried to help out Justin Herbert. Do they help out Justin Herbert on the offensive line, or do they go on ahead and get a receiver? Brady, who's the 5th pick for the Chargers?
Quinyon Mitch. No, I'm playing. I'm definitely going to go. I think I'm going to go a weapon here for him, and I'm going to go with I was debating between 2 guys.
Yep.
Do they go with one of the best tight end prospects ever, or do they go with one of the two? Well, personally, I'm going to go ahead and take Roma Dunze here.
You're taking Rome at 5. All right.
Take Roma Dunze at 5.
He's standing on business in that regard. All right. So we got Rome going to LA. There we go. Now, Matt, you're in a very interesting position with the New York Giants. There's been a lot of talk about them moving up and getting a quarterback. They're here at 6 at the moment. Do they select a quarterback? Do they pick somebody else? Do they go receiver? Do they go offensive line? What's going to happen with the New York Giants?
I think on draft night you're going to see them trade out of this pick.
Yeah, I mean, again,
but I'm going to take Joe Alt. I'm going to take Joe Alt, tackle.
Take Joe Alt at 6.
I like the pick.
All right. So we got Joe Alt from Notre Dame going to the Giants, and at number 7 for the Tennessee Titans, their new head coach and Brian Callahan. They went on ahead and made some moves in the offseason trying to help out young quarterback Will Levis. They went on ahead and picked up Calvin Ridley in free agency. They still have DeAndre Hopkins. They let go of Derrick Henry. I think they go on ahead and they get an offensive lineman, and they pick up Olu Fashanu. But again, Malik Neighbors is on the board, and that would be a really nice addition for that team. I'm going to go Olu Fashanu to help out the young quarterback and Will Levis.
I think that's the right move.
Now we move to 8. Again, with the Falcons, I will reiterate that, trades are going to happen. It's the draft. It happens. There's a lot of stuff that goes on with this, but
I have an exam from 8 to 10 o'clock that night.
That sucks.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy.
That is horrible. And I feel for you.
Yeah, it's bad.
What's
I'm not gonna lie. I didn't even think about it until this week. I realized.
Yeah, what's the subject?
Stats.
Ooh, jeez. All right, well.
Yeah.
Good luck on that one. But who are the Falcons taking at 8, Brady?
It's tough. Again, you said there's trades that happen. I'm gonna go ahead and add them another weapon. I do think they have weapons, but there's never enough weapons. I'm gonna take Malik Neighbors. He's just one of the best players in the world.
That would make the Falcons a very scary contender in the NFC South and the NFC in general. So we got Malik Neighbors going to the Falcons. Man, what do you got? Drake London over there, Kyle Pitts.
What's that? What's that last comment referring to? I'm not sure.
I'm not sure what he's referring to. I think he's probably talking about the Neighbors pick, talking about Neighbors and Rome, knowing Justin in that regard. But
he likes Neighbors.
Yes, he loves Neighbors. So that again, we had a discussion on that.
Respectable.
Yes. So number 9, Matt, the Chicago Bears have their second pick in the top 10. Who are we going with in this situation?
We're going to take the best player available, Brock Bowers.
Great
The
pick.
Chicago Bears.
It would actually make me so mad if they get him, because then they would now they got Keenan Allen, Brock Bowers, DeAndre Swift right after losing Justin.
Yeah, that would have been crazy. And again, the team behind them would have been, would be very upset if that ends up being the case, because the Jets, they were, they definitely wanted to end up getting a guy like Brock Bowers. But
what do you mean? They have Jeremy Ruckert.
Sugar Bowl legend from 2021. But hey,
I called that.
But I'll say this, maybe it made their lives a little bit easier in this regard, because they need all the offensive line help in the world to save their aging veteran and, great Aaron Rodgers and see if he can last more than 4 snaps in a season. So we'll go on ahead and get the best available offensive tackle in Fuaga from Oregon State at number 10. Go from there.
That's fair.
Number 11, Brady, Minnesota. Their current quarterback is Sam Darnold. That's all I have to say. But who do they go with in this situation?
I love that statement.
Tough scenario.
Give me Kool-Aid.
You want Kool-Aid? Okay.
Give me Kool-Aid. I think they're going to tighten up their edges. They got the receivers. They have a pretty good O-line, I believe. And then they're fine at a lot of positions. Sam Darnold's not a very exciting quarterback, but they'll get somebody to replace him eventually. I just don't know. So the reason I didn't take a quarterback is, one, Michael Penix was a 6-year senior and has injury problems, and two, I am slightly calling the J.J. McCarthy bluff. I think it's going to be a situation where he doesn't go quite as high as people think he will, kind of like Will Levis last year.
All right, so we're going to go Kool-Aid McKinstry in this scenario. Number 12, Matt, the Denver Broncos. They traded for Zach Wilson yesterday. They've been, actually a report came out from Peyton Manning saying that they're interested in J.J. McCarthy. What are we thinking in this situation, Matt, at number 12?
I would be shocked if they start Zach Wilson with year 2 of Sean Payton's thing. Like, it just seems like I don't think they're going to want to. He's going to want to throw away another season with crappy Zach Wilson at quarterback. So I'm going to go ahead and take. I think they're going to take JJ if this ends up happening. But for me, I think Penix is better. So I'm taking Michael Penix.
Taking Michael Penix in the situation.
He said Kool-Aid probably won't go until the late 20s at the earliest. I mean, it's hard to tell as of now. There's a lot of corners switch up. Remember when Christian Gonzalez fell to 17 and Witherspoon went at 5 when no one expected that. Kool-Aid's been a 3-year starter at Bama. You just never know.
Okay, so we're going with Penix at 12, correct, Matt?
Yes.
All right, cool. So there we go. Michael Penix at 12. Now the Raiders at 13. Their quarterback right now is Gardner Minshew, and J.J. McCarthy is still available on the board. Gardner Minshew's shown that he's a bridge quarterback, but the Raiders also need quite a bit, actually. Offensive tackle, running back, corner. A lot of mock drafts have had them taking, a guy like J.C. Latham and stuff, but again, falls to the lap of, J.J. McCarthy there, Dallas Turner still there, Arnold, Jared Verse. I mean, the Raiders have already got enough people that can rush the passer, especially Max Crosby. I think this is crazy enough, but I'm going to go with J.J. McCarthy to the Raiders. I don't know why, but I'm just going to select him here because I don't know if he's going to fall much further and who's going to take a chance on him. That's a playoff team. So J.J. McCarthy is in the Raiders. Now with the Saints. Who we got, Brady?
Yeah. Go. Do they really need? I'm debating on if I'm going to take Dallas Turner here because I think he's the best player available. I'll take Dallas.
You'll take Dallas Turner to the Saints.
Yeah, because what's his face? Cam Jordan. I don't know why that name wouldn't come off the tongue. He's getting old, right? And
yeah, he's up there.
They needed a new pass rusher for the future, and I'm a Dallas fan. I've been a Dallas Turner fan for a while now. Freshman starter at Bama.
All right, Dallas Turner, the Saints. 15, the Colts. Matt, who are we going with?
I'm going to take Johnny Newton.
All right. Let's go on ahead and get Newton up there. Johnny Newton from Illinois, the best defensive line player to Matt Ricketts, going to the Indianapolis Colts. There we go. Number 16, the Seattle Seahawks. They're in an interesting spot at the moment. They still have Geno Smith as their quarterback. They've got a good receiving core on their hands. Kenneth Walker Jr., young running back. They need offensive line. So where do we go from here? Do we take Fatanu? Do we go on ahead and get a defensive tackle? Do we get – there's a lot of different options here. You know what? Let's take the hometown guy in Fatanu. Not the hometown guy, but obviously with the Washington. We'll go with there. Troy Fatanu from Washington, the offensive tackle. Okay. There we go. Brady, 17.
Has Fatanu gone yet?
Has who gone yet?
Fashanu?
Yeah, he went earlier.
Penn State.
Yes,
that's
he went
from
the Titans 7. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, Fashanu's gone.
Yep.
Might as well give Trevor Lawrence some protection and go with Amarius Mims.
All right. There we go.
Never a bad thing to add protection, especially at that point in the draft. They don't need a receiver. They've been doing that. They've been getting receivers for Trevor. And I just think Amarius Mims, I would slightly prefer him. He's huge. Like, I don't know if you guys have seen the videos of this dude in high school. Absolutely huge.
All right. Amarius Mims, the Jags. Oh, that leaves
I
Matt.
have one more update.
Oh, Lord.
I am now playing with Emeka Ibuka and Jack Sorter.
What the hell, dude?
This is so – speaking of the draft, a guy that we could be selecting right here at some – like probably around here.
We're talking about this off camera when we're done. We
definitely will.
This is insane. All right. Matt, I don't know what's more insane. Actually, that's really insane. Matt, you're picking for the Bengals, man. Who are we picking? Who are we taking?
I think you need some protection, buddy. I think you do. I think we're going to take J.C. Latham.
We're going to take Latham here. Okay, so you got Trent Brown at right tackle, Orlando Brown at left tackle, so we're going Latham for the future. All right, there we go at 18. 19, the Los Angeles Rams. I think it's pretty glaring that they need defense, and we're going to go with the best player left on the board, and Terrion Arnold, the cornerback from Alabama. There we go. Okay, so this actually works out pretty good for you, Brady. Go on ahead and you got to pick for your Steelers.
I do get to pick for the Steelers.
Yeah, who you taking?
This is such a horrible – why didn't we just play – like, we got to just lose every game one time so we can take, like, somebody good.
Who did you take, Chase?
Who did I take?
Yeah.
Oh, I took Terrion Arnold from Alabama.
And you said he was the best available player, you think?
Yeah, he was the best available player on here, but I mean the Rams need a corner really bad, so I just went on ahead and picked with Arnold.
I know there's a lot of conflicting. Like a lot of people think that the Steelers are going to take Jackson Powers Johnson at this pick. You know what? I'm going to be bold here. I'm going to take Brian Thomas Jr. and add a receiver to the team because I know there's the Brandon Ayuk rumors, all that. I don't think they're getting Brandon Ayuk. I think I'm going to go Brian Thomas Jr. I don't think the receiving core is good. I've watched, obviously, a lot of Steelers. It's actually atrocious, and we lost Deontay Johnson. The one talented receiver we have half the time doesn't even run his route and then complains when he doesn't get the ball. So I'm going to add Brian Thomas Jr. in the hopes that he can become a wide receiver one in the future for the Steelers.
Trying to strengthen up the Steel City offense, that is, with Brian Thomas Jr. All right. Now Matt has the Miami Dolphins selection. Where are we going with this, Matt?
I think we're going to take the best available player. Best available player, in my opinion. Cooper DeJean. We're taking.
All right, we'll slide down the board, and we're going to go with Cooper. All right, at 21 to the Miami Dolphins. Now 22 for the Philadelphia Eagles. They're in a very interesting regard with a lot of stuff that's happened over the offseason. They signed Devonta Smith to a 3-year, $75 million contract. I just got to ask, how in the hell are they paying Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, and Devonta Smith? And they still have it's almost like they have cap space, unlimited. I don't know what's going on, but
it's crazy. That's
here nor there. Team needs cornerback, linebacker, safety. I was going to pick Cooper DeJean right there, but Matt went on ahead and sent him to South Beach. Overall, the Eagles have done a very good job of bulking up this defensive line. And, again, Byron Murphy falling this far is crazy. And I feel like, I don't know. This is a very interesting situation for them to be in. They need a corner. You know what? We'll go with Mitchell from Toledo. Go on ahead and take a swing at this one and see what he's got, because Darius Slay last year was pretty good, but I'll tell you one thing. James Bradbury was atrocious. Before we move on to this next one with the Vikings at 23, he gave up every single catch on Drew Lock's game-winning drive on Monday Night Football when the Eagles played the Seahawks. Every single catch was against James Bradbury. Awful, terrible, and get another corner in there. So there we go. Number 23, the Vikings are selecting. Brady, who are we going with? I
think I'm going to go ahead and do it actually at this pick and take Mike Penix Jr. as their Because I know I didn't take him.
Well, Matt already
took
took
him.
You took him? Oh, wait. Where'd you draft him to? My bad.
They drafted him to the Denver Broncos.
Oh,
I said
yeah.
JJ.
That's right.
I said I think they would take JJ, but I'm gonna take.
I
Fields.
remember.
All right.
Bo Nix then. Bo Nix. I think he's good too.
Bo Nix to the Vikings at
I don't
20.
know why I completely forgot about you taking him.
Again, I mean, it's all the hypothetical stuff, and again, I'm not saying that's a bad pick at all, Matt. But Matt loves to spice things up, and that that's a great reason why he's on this show as well. So
Yeah.
love it. All right, Matt, you got them. How about them Cowboys? What are they gonna do? How about them Cowboys? What are they gonna do?
I think they're going to take Tyler Brooks from Texas, homegrown running back. They're taking him first in the first round. Give him to him.
Repeat that again. Who are they taking?
Brooks from Texas.
All right, there we go. They need some help at running back. They lost
They
Tony
need
Pollard.
a running back. I think he's got the most upside. Homegrown from Texas. I'm thinking this is a little bit too early to take him, to be real, but I'm just fucking doing it. Fuck it.
All right, there we go. We're going to go on ahead and get the first running back off the board. Packers, they need a linebacker, corner, offensive guard, tackle, safety. They need everything. Everything. They're a really good football team. So we'll figure out what goes on with them. We'll go best player available at the moment is on the board, and we'll go Latu from UCLA. Figure that whole thing out. I remember who'd they pick last year? Lucas Van Ness. Remember that, Brady? When
I
they
do
picked,
remember that.
oh my gosh, that threw me off. That was terrible. They picked Lucas Van Ness very early in the draft, and it was just so surprising. But I think they'll go on ahead and they'll take Latu. I know, again, do they really need him? Not really, but
that's what I'm saying. Like, we're just kind of going by what we think. Fuck it. Like,
Yeah,
we're not
and
really
again-
doing like what we're needing. You know what I'm saying?
this is
Right.
And again, there's more trades happen, all this stuff. It's a pretty standard and locked format that we're going through, and all 32 teams have differing minds in many different ways. So we'll see how this whole thing plays out. But I go Latu at 25. The Bucks at 26. Brady, they need an edge, a corner, whatever the heck. Who are the Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking?
I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go corner. I'm gonna make Clemson Addict happy with this pick, and I'm gonna take Nate Wiggins,
Take
who
Nate
he
Wiggins
thinks
off
is
the board.
unequivocally the best corner in this draft. And if he sees like 5 posts, or no, if he sees one post that has Nate Wiggins not at number 1, and there's people in the comments agreeing, he'll take the time and he will respond to every last one of those comments.
Shout out Clemson Addict, but not in a good way. There we go. Victor Locken Addict, as I told him to call himself for one day, but that's a different story for a different time. 27, the Cardinals. Matt, who are we taking? The second pick for the Cardinals. They took Marvin Harrison Jr. in the 4th selection. Who are they taking here at 27?
They are going to take. Dude, I don't know. Fuck.
Well, a couple needs. They addressed receiver already. Defensive tackle,
They did
corner.
address receiver, but I was going to say like they need.
They need a lot of shit. I will say. They need a
Oh,
lot. Sorry. They need a lot of. There we go. But yes,
Michael Hall Jr. Michael Hall Jr.
you're kidding. You're kidding. You're going Michael Hall Jr. right now?
Yep, Michael Hall Jr. Dude, I don't know, man. The Cardinals.
I will
have got
say,
somebody-
Byron Murphy's still available.
Oh,
I mean-
Byron Murphy's still available?
Yeah, look at the screen.
Dude, I can't see your screen, bro. That's why I keep asking.
It's right there. Okay, fine. Do you want to go Byron Murphy or do you want to go Michael Hall Jr., who you have a jersey
No, we're
of?
going to go Byron Murphy.
All right. Okay. There we go. That's a very far for him. 28. You got the Buffalo Bills. Well, I was going to go on ahead and go Brian Thomas, but Brady had to take him to the Steel City. They need a receiver. So let's go with the best receiver available on the board. We're not going Xavier Worthy. We're going A.D. Mitchell. Get a big, lengthy receiver in there and try to figure some things out. 29. Yeah.
Not a nice guy.
Yeah, you had encounters with Xavier Worthy, and
I did.
yeah, That's very interesting. Okay, 29, the Lions. They need an edge, corner, defensive tackle. There's an edge who's on the board right here.
I'm gonna take Chop. I'm gonna
Take
take
Chop.
I
All right.
prefer Chop to Verse. I feel like they both fell a little bit in my opinion, but
Quite a bit to say. In this one.
Yeah, they did.
You going Chop though?
Yeah, I think Chop is a big get here.
All right, Chop stays a Lion of sort and grows as a man.
He ran like a 4.39, something stupid. Or
That's ridiculous. Ridiculous.
Stupid.
The Motor City would be happy with that one. Matt, at 30, the Baltimore Ravens. They need a receiver, a guard, edge. All right, take the words right out of my mouth.
By the way,
Boom.
I think he might be better than every other receiver other than Marv, for real.
I used to think that, but then like he just had a horrible like second half of the season. I know Jordan Travis.
He did, but he might just.
I actually don't hate that take. I don't.
All right, cool.
I don't hate it.
And here we are at 31. The Niners, they need an offensive tackle, a corner, D tackle. All, you know what? John Lynch is known for, being a very aggressive person, trying to get the best player in the room. I know Chase Young left the Niners, and they got him in a trade last year. Nick Bosa is the highest paid defensive player in NFL history. Go ahead and get him a young edge rusher on the other side, and Jared Verse at 31. There we go. 32.
Good pick.
Last pick of this mock draft, Brady, the back-to-back Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs. Who are we taking here? They need a receiver, offensive tackle, linebacker, all of this per Pro Football Network. Who are we taking in this situation for the Kansas City Chiefs?
I think this is going to be a full circle moment here. 3.5 years ago, I sent a message to Xavier Worthy, and I won't read what I said. And he responded that he was going to come and rough me up. And so I told him to pull up. He didn't do it. He's scared. No, I'm playing. But I'm going to go ahead and make this a full circle moment and take the fastest player in the history of the combine, Xavier Worthy. Congratulations.
Congratulations. I hope you're John Ross 2.0.
Me too.
Right.
I have a feeling he will be. This is more of a I think they'll do it type of thing. Not would I do it. I don't think he can catch, personally.
Well,
He's very
Brady very strong in his opinions right here. All right, we're finished. So looking at this real quick, here is our draft. I'll make sure to take a picture of this. So the first, top 10, Caleb Williams to the Bears, Drake May to Washington, Jaden Daniels to the Patriots, Marv to the Cardinals, and Rome to the Chargers. Those five right there. I mean, this group of about four, I'd say, is
that's the four. I feel like, yeah.
And then everyone has their differences with Malik Neighbors, Rome, and I would personally, if Marv went at 4, I would have picked Malik Neighbors at 5 with situation. But again, everyone has their opinion. So I there's no slight on Rome Odunze. He is a great receiver. So and then looking down, Joe Alt, Fashanu, Neighbors, Bowers to the Bears, Fuaga to the Jets. And then we got Kool-Aid McKinstry going at 11 to the Vikings, Penix and McCarthy back-to-back to the AFC West, the Broncos and the Raiders. Matt prefaced that if the Broncos had that interesting selection, they would probably go McCarthy in that realm. Dallas Turner, Newton, Fatanu, Mims, and Latham, Arnold all round out the teams. Brian Thomas Jr. to the Steelers, Cooper DeJean to the Dolphins, and Mitchell to the Eagles. And then this back half of the draft, Bo Nix being selected as looks like to be the 6th quarterback in the first round of the Vikings. And then Jonathan Brooks, the first running back off the board at 24. Latu, Wiggins, Murphy the second, A.D. Mitchell at 28, Chop Robinson at 29. And the last 3 picks include 2 Florida State players in Keon Coleman and Jared Verse, and a full circle moment for Xavier Worthy to be catching passes. I'm just kidding.
Trying to.
Good receiver. Trying to catch passes from Patrick Mahomes. So this has been it's been a long show. I appreciate everybody that has watched this far. If you guys would like this, subscribe to us on YouTube. We appreciate all the support that you guys have given to us over this amount of time. And this has been the Cut to the Chase Sports Podcast, signing off.
Yes, it has.